Ramanathapuram District GDDP, Gross District Domestic Product. Development Plan 2030 and 2047 is a preview. Corporate norm, corporate management, orbiter mission.
Copyright, corporate norm, corporate management orbiter mission.
A word of caution of what we do, what we intend to do, and what is the current situation. I quote from here from a district survey report. This area is dry and backward and known as East Ramanathapuram, comprising the taluka Thiruvadanai, Ramanathapuram, Kadaladi and Rameswaram. This region is called coastal region of Ramanathapuram District. It has all the depressing features such as poor soil, frequent droughts, absence of irrigation systems, precarious farming, etc. This area is much more backward and underdeveloped than any other districts. Mainly in coastal area, the terrain is completely a sandy tract with very little scope for agriculture. With this in the background, I would like to give my study of Ramanathapuram District. Agriculture, Vaigai River, Vaigai Dam, Ramanathapuram Big Tank, Mugavai Tank, the hard-working farmers from Punjab have turned a deserted or abandoned and farmland into a now oasis of lush green orchards in drought-prone Ramanathapuram in southern Tamil Nadu. Number 2. Establish back Tamil Sangam at Ramanathapuram. Number 3. Mining and quarrying, critical metals, minerals and thorium exploration. Number 4. Fisheries. Number 5. Rameswaram and Rameswaram Twin City Kashi. Ramanathapuram District GDDP GDH Development Plan 2030 to 2047. GDH is Gross District Happiness Index. Number 6. Ramanathapuram and its twin city Dalera. Number 7. Establish Kachathivu Corridor. Establish Thalaimannar Corridor. Number 8. Knowledge Database. Ramanathapuram GDDP GDH 2030 Fiscal and Ethical Co-Responsibility Framework. Track of Entanglement, Subject, Object, Self, SYS Governance, Corporate Sustainability, CRIM Report. Project Merit, Measure, Record, Implement and Track. It is a preview of what I intend to submit to the newly elected Member of Parliament by June 4th. I recommend Ramanathapuram District GDDP GDH Development Plan 2030 to 2047 for all the 806 districts of India. The list of Indian states and union territories which I had given earlier, GSDP 2021 to 22, and what it is today. This is in terms of gross state domestic product. We given information regarding Tamil Nadu, about $278 billion. And this particular GDDP Ramanathapuram District planning to go for in 2030, $30 billion. Agriculture, Vaigai River. Agriculture is the most important aspect of our GDP. And our GDP of $5 trillion in 2030, $20 trillion in 2047. I had earlier indicated that agriculture will form part of the major portion, which will be $1 trillion by 2030. That's the objective. In that respect, I like to go from the bottom up, which is Ramanathapuram District, and whether it can contribute, or I would rather say whether it can survive with all that I had been told about the agriculture, where it is not possible, as though it is being completely given up. So this is the important aspect of what I come to at this point of my study. is the Vaigai River. The Vaigai River, which is what I am giving in this particular page, is extracted from the feasibility report of National Waterways of the Government of India, Ministry of Shipping and Government of India. Vaigai River doesn't promise any water, and it is a surprise. Somebody from the Ministry of Shipping has decided to go whether the Inland Waterways Authorities of India, whether it could be done from Theni, from the Vaigai Dam to Madurai, etc. Ab initio, I'll tell you what their recommendation is. There is no major scope for navigational aspect of the waterways due to its geographic condition and non-availability of water throughout the season. The river banks are well connected with a road network, and major distribution settlements are there near to Madurai city. The road is near parallel on both sides throughout the river stretch. On discussion with the assistant engineers of both regulators, no scope for the future development of the river was recommended for navigational purpose. There are no major industries present in the area. The scope of cargo transportation is also very limited due to availability of good roads transportation on both sides of the river. Both jetties may be constructed at the upstream Viraganur Dam for tourism purpose only. No scope for the future development of the river was recommended for navigational purpose, and the survey stretch is not viable for development as navigable channel. Isn't it depressing? We are talking about increasing the GDDP of Ramanathapuram district to $30 billion with the heavy iron being put on our legs by the impossibility of utilizing Vaigai River. It gives an impression as though it has been completely given up. Let us go further. Vaigai Dam was inaugurated in 1959. It is one of the few dams which is not constructed in between two mountains. So this dam is completely dependent on its own concrete strength, is what I see. It's a very interesting aspect of, because I myself have seen about the floods which have come around all the way to Ramanathapuram. One of the things which is in 2022. Owing to heavy flow in Vaigai River during the last 2 days, officials are taking measures to divert water towards Kanmai's irrigation tanks, as a storage in Ramanathapuram Kanmai has reached 6 feet out of its full capacity of 7 feet. Whereas the Vaigai Dam is about 111 feet, whereas the terminals of Vaigai River is this Kanmai, Kanmai, is just about 7 feet. It's sort of a buns, is not concrete structure or something. When 6 feet had already reached in 2022. While I was a student, I had gone through the floods which had broken the buns of Kanmai and had entered the Ramanathapuram town, going through one of our nearby streets. On the morning of that day when we came out, if you see this place, which is the Mugavai Urani is a very interesting one. If you look at that Kanmai, it's only about 7 feet. Mugavai Urani is about, that is on the southern side where I was living, just about a few feet away from my house. Southern side of that Urani, which is more like a lake, is about more than 20 feet. And this particular lake is could take any large quantity of water. It's a very good lake. It is not a simple tank or something. So we have occasionally, when the floods come, it has taken the strength of this place, that is Kanmai, Kanmai, and when it is broken, it goes to the sea. That's all about it. I want to, from what my analysis and experience of this particular Vaigai River, when I had visited my grandma's place in Paramakudi, which was just adjacent to the river, water was flowing. Before 1959, the water has been flowing in the Vaigai River till about Pereyakanmai, that is at Ramanathapuram. After 1959, the flow of water had been stopped. When Vaigai Dam has stopped the Vaigai River to flow further and you are conserving the water, it's almost like your Kaveri issue. That is, when the Mysore Dam constructed and no further water comes through to Metro Dam. Metro Dam was already there. So there is a tussle between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu going on forever. Whereas it was not the case with Vaigai River or Vaigai Dam. Vaigai Dam, after being constructed, when the flow of, I have also discussed with some of the major farmers in Tirupacheti just recently, the water was coming very regularly and they could have 2 or 3 produce of agriculture produce could come, whereas now water has stopped. And going in is sort of a drip irrigation from Tirupacheti to Manamadurai to Paramukudi to ultimately nothing comes to Ramanathapuram. My suggestion is this: it is not possible at this point of time to find out why the water is not coming. What is possible is that water is a must. We have agricultural land. Nearly about 80% of the agriculture produce are from paddy. I've also visited a place like Abhiramam, where a lot of millets, what we call the Kerivara and all that used to be produce, used to come from there, is basically an agricultural land. Because of the water shortage which has been brought about by this Vaigai Dam, it has destroyed the ecosystem of Ramanathapuram district. To say that we can't do anything, there is no further water that is possible, nothing could be done, I don't accept it. What I want is this: in Vaigai Dam, upstream collection of water, you got to go up and the Pereyakanmai at Ramanathapuram build a big dam, as if not for 111 feet as Vaigai Dam, maybe about 25 feet, as on today's only 7 feet, in the same fashion. In that 25 feet dam, good enough to take care of the water reservoir for Ramanathapuram. When you go to Ramanathapuram, and when I say about the Mugavai Urani, is a lake. It's not just a tank, it's a big lake. Fill her up. That Mugavai Urani I had seen after the floods in 1957 or that sort of thing. To the brim is just unbelievable what the water storage that can come. It can very easily bring about the drinking water to the whole of Ramanathapuram. That is good enough. There's also other kanmais which we used to go for swimming and all that. One at near New Street, another at North Street near the palace. We have plenty of kanmais, all are dry. So what is important is to fill her up, build the dam, see that it is being filled up. How to fill up is the question. In upstream Vaigai Dam, there must be flow of water. The flow of water, I had visited Ahmedabad during the time when Sabarmati Ashram I went. The Sabarmati River dry, dirty pot, very dry, there was no water at all. Today you go, Sabarmati Ashram, the diversion of water has brought about a complete change. That change is required similarly from Vaigai Dam to Ramanathapuram, either by diversion of water or by desalination of seawater for the whole of the East Ramanathapuram area. I'm not talking only for Ramanathapuram. This Mugavai water, Urani water, is good enough for Ramanathapuram. If you look at Shivaganga, and is a complete problem area, not only for Ramanathapuram, is only that is the end of it. You have, as earlier said, Kadaladi or Mudagalatur or Kamudi or Paramakudi is in the upstream side. We have no problem. Thiruvadanai. Go to Shivaganga. Vaigai River is just touches and enters Paramakudi at Manomadari. So Shivaganga is another dry area. If you go to Tondi, that is in the East Ramanathapuram seashore, you have Tondi. Then you have Shivaganga, you have Karaikudi, you have Pudukkottai before it reaches, say, the Trichy area. Completely dry. And you have in this side, on the western side, you have Virudhunagar. All these areas are completely dry. If you go to Karaikudi, you can't dig anything. It's nothing but gravel. This is the same thing with, as it is being said about Ramanathapuram districts like Kamudi, etc. Nothing is that. You can't dig anything. So when it is being done, we are looking at the water shortage. My suggestion is bringing water is going to make a huge difference. As I said, if Narmada could be brought to Sabarmati River, find out how to bring water to Vaigai Dam and allow it to seep through the dam, open the gates and go restore or create the water reservoir at Periyakanmai. From Periyakanmai, the canals could be done to created to other places, as said in not only to Ramanathapuram district, to other districts also, within the Tamil Nadu. To give an illustration, owing to heavy flow of Vaigai River, it has brought about, we have not done anything from 1957 to 2022 when big floods came. We have not conserved the water. To conclude, let me give the illustration here of a remote place in Ramanathapuram. Hard-working farmers from Punjab have turned a deserted or abandoned arid farmland to an oasis of lush green orchards in drought-prone Ramanathapuram in southern Tamil Nadu. This is the one which came in first post, which I am giving the illustration. Take a look at it. To say it is not possible is very difficult for anyone to accept it. It is possible. That is, agriculture produce, as on today is almost brought in ill, had to be full blown. Water is a critical area. That water has to be brought in. We as a nation, as India, if we have to survive, we got to necessarily improve upon the areas which is quite like a desert, even in Saudi Arabia. It is being water is being brought in to change the desert into complete oasis. It is possible. Could be due to any number of various opportunities that are being provided with, not only nature but technology. We got to bring the water. Number two, it costs. The whole area from Pudukkottai to Shivaganga to Ramanathapuram to Virudhunagar, Madurai and every one of these areas, we got to necessarily bring water and increase the agriculture produce. 1 billion, 2 billion, 30 billion, 50 billion, 100 billion, $500 billion. It doesn't matter. we got to bring water to Ramanathapuram. This is what I would like to convey to the elected member of parliament. That's about it. I will bring about other areas other than agriculture, which I will touch upon. My final report will include others also. Ramanathapuram was responsible for installing Tamil Sangam number 4 by Pandithurai Theva, was the first head of Tamil Sangam 4. Ably supported by Bhaskara Sethupathi. Remember, it was the same person who sent Swami Vivekananda to Chicago and received him at Pamban. Ably supported by a great Vidwans, Raghavengar and Muna Raghavengar. I want Tamil Sangam to be brought back, the officers of Tamil Sangam, to Ramanathapuram, so that Tamil culture is being brought back to our place. Mining and quarrying. In the analytics of India's GDP moving to $5 trillion, mining and quarrying we had estimated to reach $210.93 billion, 3 times of what our GDP shows in 2022-23. It's the biggest jump among the track of entanglement, agriculture, industrial and services sectors of India's GDP. Let me mention from an extract from a district survey report, Gravel and Rough Stone Ramanathapuram District, Tamil Nadu State. Total reserve available in the district of Ramanathapuram. Sandy soil and red soil are the known mineral potential of the area. Apart from these mineral resources, occurrence of lignite, oil and natural gas has also been reported in the district. The entire occurrences are of a local nature only and are not of any economic significance, the report says. Let me give here the IMF report on estimated cumulative real revenue for the global production of selected metals 2021-2040. Mentions copper, nickel, cobalt, lithium, and in addition aluminium and rare earth minerals are needed to stabilize the climate. Rare earth is the Indian production of rare earths amounted to an estimated 2,900 metric tons of rare earth oxide equivalent in 2023. India was the world's 6th largest producer of rare earths that year. Second, if we go for another one, in a June 2019 statement in the Indian Parliament, the government said that the Department of Atomic Energy planned the use of large deposits of thorium available in the country as a long-term option. Monazite in Tamil Nadu is 2.46 million tons out of our country's total reserve of 11.93 million tons, about 20%. Ramanathapuram GDDP Development Plan 2030 model signifies what it would be in every other 805 districts that make up India's GDP. What we are looking at is the Ramanathapuram model applied everywhere in 806 districts of India. That means in such these things like cobalt, may not have a cobalt in Ramanathapuram districts, it may be elsewhere. It may have a deposit of thorium which may not be there in some other districts. We are bringing up together from the district level the resources available and how it has to be exploited in every districts of India. That is the Ramanathapuram model which I'd like to present here, which I am collating the information and the final report I shall submit. Fisheries. Capture fisheries is one of the major occupations and income provider for the people of the Ramanathapuram district. The district has 237 kilometer coastline and covers almost 22% of the state fisher population. The district leads in marine fish production in the state and contributes for more than 20% of the fish landings in the state. Rameswaram is a very great place. I've gone there several times, and as a young person, I was taken there with my neighbor, Mr. Rameswaram, who was the secretary of the school as well as the advocate, number one advocate in Ramanathapuram. We were shown some jewelries, I recall, was it represented Ramanathapuram Samasthanam, which even today is in charge of this temple, where I had seen that crown full of diamonds donated by Sarabhoji Maharaja. On the same day and same time, we went to Dhanishkodi and I saw several places. One thing which I can recall is that Hanuman temple was already covered by the sand, and we had to go down the sand to see the Hanuman temple. It's a very interesting thing, and subsequently, of course, completely washed out. What we see today is nothing. But there was the harbour where regularly this steamer used to come to Talaimannar. And I remember tossing the coins at the harbour, and these boys will just plunge into the water and pick up the coins and come back. This I also recall what happened, what is being mentioned by Marco Polo, is that the divers who go down in that area, if you look at Kadaladi and other places, and it's about nearly 243 kilometers, mainly from Rameswaram to going up the northern side. We have divers, pearl divers, Marco Polo says, and they would go without any dive and go and pick up the pearl and come back, and it was very stunned and appreciating about what they did. What is the most important thing around that time is that his appreciation on the word of honor of this area, Ramanathapuram area, where any promise given, it is being taken, nothing in writing was needed, and that was Marco Polo had a great appreciation about that. So that is a kind of thing. And here in Rameswaram, all we know is President Abdul Kalam, his house is there. But I know personally several, like SVM, one of those merchants, big merchants in Kadaladi, dealing with shells and other things. So it's a very big thing besides fisheries. And they are big merchants. This is the opening of the commerce, and they are extremely good. The Muslim people whom I know very intimately, because of my father, from Uchupalli or Tangachimadam or Pamban or various places, and of course the Rameswaram. Extraordinarily, that developed the promise of keeping your word of honor. So in terms of and also because of my father, there was a CSI church behind our house. Every week on Sunday, the headmaster of the Shorts High School, where Abdul Kalam studied at the time, he used to come to the church, and every Sunday he would visit my father. It was just in the front, and had a very good discussion. And that is a kind of this thing in Ramanathapuram area, that is Hindus or Muslims or Christians. We are all very thick and thin. And what you see in other places I'm not so familiar with, but in another place, the expansion of commerce, expansion of education, like Dr. Abdullah, Syed Amal, various schools which had been opened. In fact, my school, if you enter P. Ahmed, donated by some of the Muslim people. In fact, if I want to revive my Rajas High School. And the first thing I would look into is Dr. Anwardin, who would very gladly provide the you can easily raise the money from various overworld schoolmates. And this is a kind of a place, Ramanathapuram, as I said about the Tamil Sangam also when it comes. The culture among the Ramanathapuram is one of the highest. So when you talk of a GDDP model, Ramanathapuram model, and it would be very ideal to go through, and Rameswaram is one area where a lot of people come and go. So it has to be developed both in terms of commerce and as well as in terms of culture and in terms of raising our agricultural produce. These three areas is going to make a huge difference in the development plan of Ramanathapuram district. So wait for me, maybe another couple of weeks where I go to Ramanathapuram and have a look at it and give me a good shine on what I have already indicated here, and then let us take it up with the elected member of parliament. Kashi Rameswaram twin cities. The Kashi Rameswaram pilgrimage is undertaken by devotees. This yatra starts and ends at Rameswaram. The devotees undertake this yatra first visit Ramanatha Swami at Rameswaram. They make 3 lingams out of the sand collected, and after rituals dissolve 2 of them and take the final Shiva lingam with them to Kashi. On reaching Kashi, the devotees head to the holy spot Triveni Sangam. Here, after rituals, the devotees dissolve the Shiva lingam from Rameswaram. They then visit Lord Vishwanath to collect the water from a river Ganga before heading back. The devotee then stops at Ramanatha Swami temple at Rameswaram and offers the Ganga water to the Lord. Now the pilgrimage is complete and the devotee can go home. Kashi and Rameswaram are naturally the twin cities of India. Ramanathapuram District GDDP GDH Development Plan 2030 and then 2047. GDH stands for Gross District Happiness Index. It's a combination of intangible and tangible. Tangible is the one which we look at when we see the Global Happiness and Well-being Policy Report. They mention about 5 critical areas: health, education, workplace, personal happiness, and city. This I would like for Ramanathapuram district to follow and adopt in our own manner. Our own manner is the creation of SOS governance, subject-object self-governance standards that exemplify the policy the Government of India had already implemented for a uniform governance rating. The policies with regard to health, education, workplace, personal happiness, and city, which are the critical areas that Global Happiness and Well-being Policy Report mentions, is one of the United Nations agencies, which I shall be definitely including upon that. That is what I want to refer here in a preview. And normally Global Happiness, last one which they had done is about 2019 after the COVID-19 part of it. They must improve. Their standards must be improved, avoiding such pitfalls as India ranks 126th, the World Happiness Index 2023. I mean, it's a rising mental health concerns. What I had seen in the GCHW, that is Governing Council for the Health and Welfare, is very limited approach to as far as India is concerned. We have seen in very many cases India's in terms of various factors which are being given by the Western countries is not relevant as far as India is. That's what I'm trying to tell. In fact, United Nations Agency had earlier given up the GDP GNH combination. They felt that the GNH is not able to consolidate or go with the GDP calculation. So they do only in isolation, that is GDP portfolio, which I had earlier written on GDP GNH combo. This I would like to bring it from the district level. In district level, if you look at the GDH, that is Gross District Happiness Index, can be easily be created with our SOS governance blueprint. When you do that, we are able to get both the GDDP, that is Gross District Domestic Product. When we do that, and also we combine the GDH on a collective basis of 806 districts which we have a GDP JNH combination available. We're able to identify each and every area of what the lowest rung. If we are able to complete that, then altogether we have a good GDP JNH combination coming in. That's a purpose. As much as Rameswaram, Kashi as twin cities, like from what I had seen during my visit to Vibrant Gujarat 2024, the development of Dholera is a wonderful creation. We are modern and we have IEA, we have so many things. It's a very well developed place for commerce and various aspects of finance and whatnot. Here I would like to, this is a common one and I very much like to have for my Ramanathapuram. What it has is about world-class infrastructure. We can afford to have a Ramanathapuram as a small place with the dust and the roads being so bad. And I mean, it is not good for health and not good for welfare. And education institutions which had been so very difficult times to have been brought and been just rendered as a waste. And it is very important that we develop the health aspects of it, education aspect of it, the workplace aspect of it, and of course the people to have the not only the infrastructure but the personal happiness. And the city has to be developed to a very great extent. That is my wish, and it is not impossible. That's why I nominate Dholera as a twin city for Ramanathapuram town. It may be adopted by every other district, but Ramanathapuram should go and look at the Dholera city, which has ease of governance, plug and play, social infrastructure, ease of business, external connectivity. It has all that creates technological advancement, life and work and play, sustainability, fast track approvals, security, internal connectivity, like airports and all that. We had at Manamukam had a airstrip. Let us make it good. And I see from the map Dr. Abdul Kalam's airport, international airport. I don't know where it is. It is there somewhere in Rameswaram. Develop all the infrastructure that is needed for further advancement in commerce, industry, and development of agriculture. Establish Kachativu corridor is another interesting factor which I have been discussing about the Kachativu, which we say belong to Ramanathapuram, as there are records to show with Raja of Ramanat. It belongs to Ramanathapuram. So there's no question in my mind to say that Kachativu would come back to us, and we construct a good bridge over the sea and reach Kachativu as a hop, stop and jump to Sri Lanka. May go on the northern side of Sri Lanka to Yarpanam and create business and commerce, and both are going to be as a win-win situation. So let us go ahead and construct the dam. Coming to Talaimanna, which is in the southern side of Sri Lanka. I'd seen and gone recently, a couple of years back, to Dhanushkodi. All those very bad. The one which I have shown here is the old harbor. The whole old harbor, everything is a barren land. Some of the structure which had been washed away by the sea is being just seen. Also seen the board for the railway station, Dhanushkodi needs to be improved to a very large extent as a small town but alive and kicking, with a harbour has to be made, and with Taraimana, if you are not going to open a bridge, you can definitely create a steamer regularly between Thalaimannaran and Dhanushkodi. It must be done as it was years back. Knowledge database Ramanathapuram GDDP GDH 2030 will be including agriculture sector, industry sector, cultural heritage, services sector. In the trichome of entanglement, subject object self SOS governance, fiscal and ethical co-responsibility framework. This is for each and every project. When you look at the maintaining of the cultural heritage, like to see another one like Varanasi coming to Rameswaram. When you look at the agriculture sector, like to see the water flowing from Theni onwards, bulls like Narmada and Sabarmati River. As a major work had to be done, important work. Look at the industry sector. We will look at the various critical metals, minerals, thorium is going to be a major important exploration of various items with regard to industry. Then the services sector got to establish, as we have maintained, similar to the technological advancement. There are several. I will point it out to some of them, like biochar or use of various machineries with least CO2 emissions. These are the machines we are looking at. Then we look at there are several projects, including that of establishing the Tamil Sangam and propagating what the Tamil Sangam can do for the whole country. Which has to be taken by every other district as to their development in either in language or, for example, Sivaganga is almost like another excavation of various good amazing things that have come out. So each project by merit, measure, record, implement and track. We got to track, which starts from once it is given to the Member of Parliament who is going to look after the Ramanathapuram District. We got to track what exactly that once he has approved and goes to the Parliament, talks about it, takes to the several ministries, which could be Marine Ministry, for fisheries, for trailers, for various other areas. It could be for water, and he has a very great responsibility. And the industry sector, look at it, it is not the profit motive that we are looking at, because normally, of course, the profit is important. If you look at the investor is the Government of India. A major investment that shall be coming in infrastructural development and development of various factors with regard to the building construction and road constructions and dam construction. These are the things which are they are the main investor. So when they select the individual companies to execute the projects, several companies, for example, Tata's had been used, L&T had been used. There are several companies of high order, and we have to look at what they do. Each project has to be connected with the SOS governance, whether the ethical responsibility is being taken into account. It's not that allotment of work or projects are being given at the side by political support and other things. It's a purely, that's where the SOS governance comes. We will be able to take a rating of how it is being done, how it is being allotted, how it is being measured, how it is going to be taken to the further completion. That's about for the next 5 years, which is going to make a huge difference of what it is going to do for Ramanathapuram number 1, Ramanathapuram District number 2, and similarly what it can do for other districts within our country. There are 806 districts in India. So I propose this is as a preview, and I will give a detailed report after discussion and consulting with other people of Ramanathapuram and also Paramakudi and Kamadi and whatnot, and hand it over to the member of the parliament. That is my vision, that's my mission. Here I would like to recap what we had earlier discussed. This is sector-wide GDP in India 2022-23, and what it would be sector-wide GDP in India 2030-31 on agriculture, industry and services. It was a interesting analytics, and why services has to go down in terms of percentage of the total GDP, which is expected to be about 5 trillion, and why agriculture has to be at 1 trillion, and why industry has to grow more, double in fact. Some of the sectors treble. So that's what we discuss.
மாடுகட்டி போரடித்தார் மாளாது சென்னலென்று ஆனை கட்டி போரடித்து ஆனை கட்டி போரடித்து அழகான தென் மதுரை அழகான தென் மதுரை